Starting a couple minutes early just to say hello. Hi, everyone. How is everyone? Oh, I have to get up live chat so I can see your comments. Hi, Fatima. Hello, Lori. Hi, Michelle. Raven. Jess, hi. Hello, and hi, Kay. So, hello. Um, so just so you are aware, we're in a new park now. This is a different park. So before it happens, I'm going to tell you that you may hear yappy dogs. There's a lot of yappy dogs here, which then sets Ty off. And yes, so I honestly, I guess I would rather have the yappy dogs than where we were before because they're all afraid of Ty. And so first, I want to say happy Mercury Direct Day. Yay! I'm so glad it's over. This has been like literally, I think, the worst Mercury retrograde time I've ever had, like in my life. There's been so much shit that has happened with Mercury retrograde that I couldn't even, I couldn't even believe it was happening. Hi, Trisha. Mercury went retrograde for the new year, and literally when it went retrograde, yappy dogs. When it went retrograde, my RV broke down. And we have had nothing but trouble trying to get it fixed. We had a horrible time trying to find a mechanic. We found mechanics that would show up and say that they would do stuff and then not show up again, or say that something would happen and then it wouldn't. And it's just been a nightmare. I have not said like the whole sordid ordeal publicly yet, just because I haven't had time. It's okay. It's all done. Hi, Stephen. It's all done as of yesterday. The RV is fixed. We're back in our RV. Yay! I cannot tell you how much I missed it. And so now, yes, it's my bike. My bike with the basket. It's green, and I put all kinds of lights on it, and I put a special like seat on it for big butts so that it was like cushiony. And I've been riding it because that's like our transportation is that bike. I'm so excited. I love it too. I've had a really good time riding my bike because it's like 86 degrees down here right now. It was super hot today, and I thought I might have heat stroke because we had to walk to the other park that we were at and get our bikes and then bike back, and it was, oh my gosh, I have a picture. My face was so red and disgusting. See? Yappy dogs. My face was so red and disgusting, I thought I was going to pass out. And I keep forgetting to put my sunscreen on, but I have to say, look, okay, so for me, this is a lot of color. I am so Irish, it's crazy. So, like, usually I am white or red, and that's it. And I know this is tinged pink, but this is like color and not burn. I'm so, like, oh my gosh. Like, this arm, look at it, almost, all right, it doesn't really look very brown on camera. I'm not saying that I'm brown. I will never be brown. But that's like color without being burnt, which is good. I don't like I will never be a tanner because it's not good for your skin, and my skin is super sensitive. So I don't spend a whole lot of time outside. Yes, I know, puppy. But for me, this is a lot of color, and that's partly why, because we've been riding bikes, and our transportation is like the bike now. So I have been getting my steps in. Look at my watch is like, yeah, you got your steps in. So we go from clear to red, yeah, then back to clear usually. So this is a lot of color. I have requested bike for my B-Day. I'm telling you what, it is awesome. I really, really love my bike. And yes, and my color. I'm so excited. So, yes, Southern Texas, I'm excited. This park I like a lot, and I have met a girl who I'm hoping is going to take me to Mexico. I hope, like, really soon. And there's a craft show this week coming up, and so I'm trying to get a table at the craft show, like right here in our park. And so then I'm hoping to have a little extra money, because all the crystals that we didn't sell yet, I brought with me to try to sell, but there hasn't been an opportunity yet. So this is like the first time that maybe I can get a little extra money from selling crystals and stuff. So now that Mercury retrograde is over, like, clearly things are better. And my admins will tell you, I was trying so hard to be positive, like throughout this whole thing. Hi, Heather. It got to the point though where I was like, okay, really, what the fuck? This is just ridiculous. Because it was one thing after another, after another, after another. My dad fell and was in the hospital and couldn't walk and all this stuff. It was a lot. But now, I so wish they were bats, but they're just not. They're birdies. They do sound like bats, though, don't they? You did great considering. Thank you, Stephen. I was like, okay, I'm going to go meditate. Instead of like falling apart, I'm going to go meditate. Hi, Ember. And I did that, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep moving forward. And then something else would happen, and I'm like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. You filled a jar with positive energy. Oh, I love you. Okay. All right, so I feel like things have turned a corner now. Mercury retrograde is over. That was like the worst one, and it wasn't supposed to be bad for me, so I don't get it. I so want them to be bats, but they're just not. They're these birds called grackles, and they're hilarious, but they're super loud, and I love them because they're super loud. Okay, I'm getting squirrely, sorry. So anyways, things have turned a corner. I feel like things are on a better track, and it'll be okay now. It was always going to be okay no matter what, but now I feel like, okay, I can move forward again. So, Miss of Avalon, yay! Okay, we are on chapter 2. I'm going to, before we start, I'm going to try to remember this every time. If you have not read chapter 2, I highly recommend that you don't watch this video yet, because it's going to be full of spoilers. We're going to talk all about what happened and analyze what happened and talk about what that means and ask some questions about what that means. So if you have not read it yet, you're still welcome to watch, but understand that this whole video is going to be full of spoilers for you, and we will ruin the whole chapter for you, and you will know everything about chapter 2. Hopefully by the time we're done with this video, you will know everything about chapter 2. So, had to hide my book so I wouldn't keep going. It's really hard for me too, but I'm really glad that I'm following along. Like, I figured I would go ahead and then I'd just go backwards, but I don't want to do that because it's been a really long time since I read it. So I don't remember everything that's coming, but I know a lot about, things that are coming up. So it's hard for me then, I think if I did that and read ahead, it would be hard for me to only talk about the chapters that we have supposedly read, because I'd be like, oh yeah, well, and then this happened and it didn't happen yet. So I'm trying really hard specifically to put the book away and not read ahead when I'm done with our chapter for the week, on purpose, because that would be really hard. Okay, so chapter 2. I'm going to revisit chapter 1 just to kind of talk about what we saw. There was something in this chapter that gave me a light bulb moment. Yes! Oh, good, Stephen. Towards the end, remind me of that. I want to know what it is. And that's one thing, is I want you guys to be as active as you can with this, and say stuff in the comments of the videos, say stuff in the event page if you're on Facebook, because we will talk about, I want to be as interactive as I can, because any questions that you have, anything that hits you that you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, I didn't realize that before. Perfect. I so want to hear that. Okay, so chapter 1, we met Taliesin. I stopped listening as they said chapter 3, so I won't spoil stuff. Yes. And I'm going to try, because it was a pain in the ass for me when I went to find chapter 2, because I go back and like write notes and stuff. I'm going to try to post the minutes that the next chapter starts, so that you know in the audio part, at least if you're following along with the audio parts, you'll know where to start. So like I posted, no, I didn't post, but I wrote down 51 minutes, 57 seconds starts chapter 2. And then chapter 2 ends at 1 hour, 22 minutes. Chapter 1 ends, or chapter 2 ends in the audio, which I'm like, really? 1 hour for 2 chapters? It takes a long time to read like that. It seems odd to me. They are so funny. These grackles crack me up. They are at dusk. They are all over the place. They are loud as hell. It's funny. Okay. So I'm going to try to remember to post that. Let's go backwards a little bit just to kind of say this is, we got introduced to Taliesin, Vivian, Igraine, Morgause, Morgaine, and Gorlois. Although we haven't seen Gorlois, but we know. Yes, I love the audiobook too. And I like to, I told you, I start out by reading the chapter along with the audiobook first. And I start like marking. I know you guys will probably, it depends on what kind of book reader you are. For me, I don't mind marking in my books. So literally, like, I highlight my books, I mark, like, oh, I'm going to do a question there. So then I'm like, okay, question number 9, this is the answer is in here. So I mark all over my books and stuff. I know there's a lot of book readers that are like, oh, you mark in your book? Yeah, I really do. This means I really enjoyed a book when I do this. So yeah, perfect. So chapter 1, we got to see all those characters. The summary really for chapter 1 is Avalon is getting further and further away due to Christian doctrine. Although me too, writing everywhere. I mark my books too. Yay! I know quite a few people that are just like heartbroken that used book by me, Still Look New, that are heartbroken that I like write in books and stuff. But I'm like, this means that I really enjoyed myself and I wrote notes, and that, you know, to me, if a book is all written up and stuff, it means it was a great book and I studied the shit out of it. It's good. All right. So due to Christian doctrine, Avalon is getting further and further away from the secular world, and it's getting harder and harder to get from Avalon, from the Isle of Avalon, to the secular world. And only people who are very, very clear and have been shown the mysteries really can get back and forth now, and it takes a lot longer. Okay. I'm too OCD. I'm technically going on chapter 4 because with my current luck, I wanted to stay ahead a chapter in case I could find time to read. Yes, I hear you. And that's okay. I highlight in my Kindle but leave the book alone. It's all right. That's all right too. I get it. Vivian and Taliesin have seen, they have received a prophecy. They've seen that Ambrosius will die soon, and Uther Pendragon will succeed him. Let's start with the first question, which is Vivian tells Igraine that Gorlois cannot be the father of the Great Uniter. Okay, why? Why can't Gorlois be the father of the Great Uniter? So what happens is they say, look, we've had this prophecy. You're going to have the child of someone, and your child is going to become the king who unites all of Britain, meaning the pagan Britain, the Christian Britain. And so you, Igraine, you're going to have the honor of having that child. Unfortunately, it's not going to be with your husband. And we'll talk about that, but Igraine is like, are you fucking kidding me? Right? Igraine is like, you have no idea. I sacrificed, I suffered. It was not easy for me to get used to this. We're way out in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know this guy. He's older than me. And now you want me to move on and go be with someone else on top of it? Are you kidding me? So Igraine or Vivian says, yeah, Gorlois can't be the daddy. Why can't Gorlois be the daddy? And so this was important for me that you guys understood why it was that he could not be the daddy, because this whole book will speak about duty and about what we have to do for our planet, for our universe, for our spiritual path to get us forward, and sometimes there's sacrifice involved in that. Okay, so the answer is right here, and because he's born of Rome, yes, and the people won't follow him. They will not follow just a Roman and Christian. The tribes won't support him. Exactly. Igraine. And I love this. Vivian says to the Merlin, okay, hold on, I got this, because you're not really going to understand this because you're a man, and you're not going to understand why this feels so funny after she's had a child with some other, with her husband, why we're going to tell her now, oh, sorry about that, but nope, that's not the one after we asked you to sacrifice to begin with to be with this guy. So she says to Igraine, yes, not someone of Rome, exactly. Igraine, Gorlois is Roman. The tribes will not follow any man born to a son of Rome. The tribes, the high king they follow must be a child of the Holy Isle, a true son of the goddess. Your son, Igraine, yes, but it is not the tribes alone that will fight away the Saxons and other wild folk in the north. We will need the support of Romans and Celts and Cymri, and they will follow only their own war duke, their Pendragon, son of a man they trust to lead them and rule. And the old people, too, who seek the son of a royal mother, your son, Igraine, but the father will be Uther Pendragon. So they tell her who the father is going to be. And Igraine hasn't even met this guy. And we know that she was bitter to begin with. When they first showed up, she's like, I'm really glad you guys are here. Where the fuck have you been for 4 years? You sent me on this quest. This was my destiny, is to marry this guy. And you sent me away, and I was young. And you sent me there, and you kind of left me out to dry and to deal with it and figure it out by myself. And she feels lost and alone. And now these same people are coming back into her life, listening to her thoughts of loneliness. Wasn't it? Oh, you just want to hold her and be like, oh, honey, she's so young. She's so young still. She's only 19 now. She was 15 when she married this guy who was at least 30 something. And now she's only 19. She has a child by him. She's finally gotten used to the way things go. And now these same people are coming in and saying, well, we're really glad you did that, and thanks so much, but now we're going to switch directions and rip you away from what you know, and we're going to start over with some new guy that you don't know. So you can see her heartbreak is like, are you fucking kidding me? Please don't do this to me. What the fuck? And she has every right to feel like that, right? She's like, come on, give me a break. Igraine is understandably upset. Very understandably. What does Vivian say will happen if you deny or avoid your fate? So Vivian says what happens is Igraine says in her head she's totally upset, and she knows that Vivian has this thing that she says to her all the time, that if she avoids her fate, something will happen. Well, this was funny to me because I thought, oh yeah, this is me. She always says to her, if you seek to avoid your fate or to delay suffering, it only condemns you to suffer it redoubled in another life. Right? Vivian is only 39 and about to be a crone. Exactly. Yes. She is only 39. She's about to be a crone. So she's like, if you don't follow your fate, you don't have to. And they tell her that very clearly. They're like, look, we're not here to tell you you have to do this. We are telling you that if you don't, then you're turning your back on the fate of Avalon. you're understanding, you have to understand that Avalon is sinking into nothingness, and you will have to know that you had a part in that because you could have helped stop that. That's, who the heck wants that? So, sometimes our fate is in front of us and we're like, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I can't tell you how many times, and when no pressure, right? She's being used as a tool. Yes, absolutely, but it is her destiny. She was born a child of Avalon, a lady of Avalon, and so just being born of that means that she has a specific destiny. She doesn't have to follow it, but it comes with responsibilities. And if she doesn't follow it, she'll know that things happen that she could have prevented. And that's not easy. And in our own lives, to me, I think of the things that I've been through in the last 3 years with, let's be honest, MDL, with Mystic Dragon's Lair, screwing me over so bad. I was so excited to go and work there because I thought, okay, I know this is my destiny. I know this is my fate. I know I'm supposed to do this. And then doing our own shop at Mandy and Amadeo, totally screwing me over. Very painful things. And I think if I had known ahead of time, like all the pain and suffering and stuff that I had gone through that period, would I still have gotten to that point where would I still have quit Mammo and said, okay, even though I know this is going to be really hard and I'm going to suffer through this, would I have still done that? I hope so. I hope standing here now, I know I'm where I am now because of the steps that I have been led, but it was always my choice. But I feel like there's lessons that I've learned. There's things that came up. There's spiritual lessons that I would not have known otherwise. It's extremely painful sometimes. So we have to kind of learn to go with the flow as much as we can. That's part of learning how to live in the now, is to accept what comes as if you had chosen it, right? And I always talk about Eckhart Tolle. That's one of his quotes is, anything that comes up, the changes that come, will become much easier if you accept them as if you had chosen them, right? You can either go quietly or you can fight it. Yes, 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 absolutely. You can go quietly or you can fight it. It's getting dark already. God damn it. Okay, so I have hair in my mouth. The Three of Swords always gives us the lessons, right? For sure. Vivian Teleson have seen. Oh, we'll go back to that. Let's go through the questions. Number 3, a daughter of the Holy Isle didn't speak of her father. She belonged only to the goddess. The man the lady chose to be her child's caregiver most often was her brother. But why doesn't a daughter of the Holy Isle speak of her father? They say specifically that the father doesn't really claim that daughter of a Holy Isle as his daughter. The daughter doesn't talk much about the biological father, and they talk about why. You need a bin fire. Yes, right? Yes. I know. I have this lantern, but I think it ran out of batteries. Oh, not really. Hold on. Can I do this? Oh, yeah, I can. Okay. That helps a little. Okay. So, number 3. Yes, there was a reason for this. Okay. No pious man should claim fatherhood to a child of the goddess, and all children born to the lady were considered so. So, yeah, sometimes they don't know who their dad is. Absolutely, for sure. And don't forget that the line, the family line, goes through the female line, and it's completely and totally up to the woman what happens to that child. If it's a daughter, very often they are sent to a foster, or if it's a son, they're sent to a foster home and someone, to raise it. If it's a daughter, they're usually sent to the Isle of Avalon, where they will be trained as a priestess, and shown the mysteries and that kind of thing. So it struck me that it's like a reverse of power, right? In our patriarchal society, the father very often has that leadership role. Like he decides where the child will go if they decide to go to boarding school or something. A lot of times it'll be the father who says, okay, we're gonna send this kid to boarding school. It's funny that now it's very much in this setting. Dog breeding did it right? We follow the mom. Yeah, yes. I like it that it's the women who have control of their sexuality. Yes. And we see that very clearly here. And I like that it's different like that too. And it struck me that it's like the complete reverse of our patriarchal society today, that it's the woman who has the complete control. And they almost like don't allow the fathers to have a whole lot of say, because to them, they're like, oh, look, it's my child, and you might have been there to, contribute your piece, but I get to say because I'm mama. So that's a big deal in their society. Number 4, why? Let me get to number 4. Why was Morgause not chosen to succeed Vivian as Lady of Avalon? So Vivian, in talking to Igraine, who's very upset, Vivian says to her, for a long time I thought Morgause was going to succeed me as the Lady of Avalon. But there was a reason that she decided Morgause was not going to be the Lady of Avalon, her successor. And she says Vivian looked very sad. She is not fit, because she can tell that Morgause is all about the power. And that's key. You'll see Morgause later, things that happen to Morgause later, and you realize, ooh, thank goodness. She could not have dealt with the power of the Lady of Avalon. She's not fit. She sees under the mantle of the goddess only power, not the unending sacrifice and suffering. And so that path is not for her. Laptop ran out of juice. I had to plug it in. Then I had to feed my cat. All right. That's all right, honey. Don't forget, you can always watch it back, too. It'll always be here. And I love that we get a glimpse, too, that Vivian also has had a lot of suffering. There is something to be said about the high priestess. And I think this is something I don't talk about a lot. She's the 4th face of the goddess. Yes, and you don't want to see that face. Yes, I love how she talks about the maiden face, even though Morgaine is not really the maiden yet. But she says that, and then the mother phase, which is Igraine, and then Vivian being almost the crone phase. She talks about there's another phase of the goddess, and that's Morgause, and you don't really want to see that face. I also was just in the middle of saying something. Fuck. What? Squirrel? Something about daughter of the holy, why was Morgause not chosen? Oh, Vivian's suffering. One thing, I don't talk very much about this, and if you guys want, at some point I will do a video about this, I think. For those people who are interested in being a high priestess, there's things that I don't talk about because it's not like secrets or anything, but being a high priestess is a lot of responsibility. And there's a lot that comes with it, and there's a lot of what I would consider to be suffering also. And a lot of that is loneliness and feeling, because it's like you are always on the outside of things, even when you have a circle and you are teaching in your circle and stuff, because you are the leader, you're always, and I think it's that way with any leadership role, but you're always just on the outside of things. You are not a part of the in crowd. You know what I mean? It's like a teacher and her students. Even if you love that teacher, she's not you. She's not a part of who you are. Yeah, you're responsible for a big part of people's lives, and there's a lot that comes with that responsibility. And at times it can be very lonely, and it can be very feel like it's you against the world sometimes. All right, I'm going to bring down this. Ooh, please don't fall. Come on, lantern. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that helps a little bit. Yeah. So it can feel, there's a lot of suffering that comes with it too. By the way, I don't know if these are just down here. Snapple has come out with elemental drinks, and I of course had to get the air one. I also got the water one, and I got the fire one, but I couldn't find the earth one, so I'll let you know. The air one is amazing, and as an air person, I love it. It's really good. So anyway, people's spirituality is so important for them, and to have that responsibility, yes, to know you could very easily mess somebody up, yes, and you there's a lot of, you give a lot, and sometimes you feel like there's not a lot of not that there isn't a lot of giving back. I don't want to say it like that, because it's not like that, but it's, I think the word lonely comes in a lot, and I have found myself in, since I became a high priestess, that word is in my vocabulary a lot more than I would have ever thought, because there are things that you don't talk to your students about, and it's hard to find, unless you know another elder someplace, it's hard to find someone that you can talk to about certain aspects of that. So just so you know, that there is a lot of suffering that goes along with that leadership role. So, but we get a glimpse of that here in this chapter. Vivian starts to talk a little bit about the suffering that she has been through, being the high priestess, the lady of Avalon. Okay, number 5. Find number 5. Here we go. What is the one detail of this plan or prophecy that Vivian asks Igraine to work out for herself? So they talk about the plan. The plan is this, right? The plan is Igraine is supposed to marry Uther. She's supposed to have his child. We don't know necessarily if she's supposed to marry Uther, but she's supposed to have his child. And she's like, but I'm married to Gorlois. And am I messing up the last question? No. Okay. Vivian finally tells her, because she's like, but I'm married to him. Can't we just make it so it's him that, has the son? And she finally says, yeah, honey, he's going to die. He's not going to survive. So Gorlois cannot be the father, because he's not going to make it. And so, yes, he asks her to get to London. That's right. To get Gorlois to take her to Londinium. Yes, that's it. And so it's funny, because here she is in this Christian household, and she's like, you might as well have told me to, birth a cow. Do you know how hard that's going to be for me to get my husband to take me to this war council thing in Londinium, knowing that the King Ambrosius is going to die? To say, hey, honey, can I come to you? I just need a break from the castle and everything. It is way difficult for her to insert herself into something that is already a male-dominated thing. It's a war council. It's a council to figure out the next king. She knows this is not going to be an easy thing to do. And she's like, yo, Viv, what, are you kidding me? That is not going to be easy. That's going to be a hard task for me to somehow figure out how to allow him to come. And finally, number 6, what does Vivian do? Finally, a break from the castle, right? You got to, I mean, something. We'll see what she does. She has to figure it out, though. What does Vivian do finally to help Igraine feel ready for this new quest? So Vivian's talking to her and she's like, look, I want to go shopping at the Londinium markets, right? Please, can I go with you? And while you're doing your little war thing, I would like to pick up some new dresses, right? Something. She's got to come up with something. All the work that will be involved to bring her, because remember at the time she had to have servants with her to dress her and all that stuff. So the question is, so they're going back and forth, and Vivian's like, look, I can't force you to do this, but you know that this is a responsibility, and Avalon is going to fade away. Do you want to be responsible for that? And Vivian's like, fuck. Not really. Shit. Do I have to do that? What the? Ugh, really? She even asked Vivian, can't you do it? Can't you, like, have this kid? And she's like, no, I'm almost, like, I can't have children anymore. I'm too old. That won't work for us anymore. So that can't happen. So she says, this is your fate. You can't pass your fate on to somebody else. You have to accept your fate, and you are the one who has to do this fate. So Vivian finally gives her some kind of help, right? She says, ooh, this lantern is low. Okay, Vivian sighed. She touched the moonstone. Oh, finally, because I will say, Igraine finally says, okay, all I've been with is my husband, though. How the hell am I gonna, like, flirt with another guy? I've never been with another guy. I've never been around another guy like that. Maybe I need a charm to, like, get me flirty so that I can do this. Because Vivian, Jesus, this is not easy for me. Can you at least acknowledge that this is going to be a pain in the ass for me, and I don't even know if I can do it? Okay, so Vivian sighed. She touches the moonstone about Igraine's neck. She said, this was not Gorlois' gift to you. No, I had it from you at my wedding, you remember? So she's like, oh, that's a pretty necklace. That's a moonstone. That's not, Gorlois didn't give that to you, did she? No, he didn't. You did, you idiot. I love that. You said it was my mother's. So it's their mother's moonstone necklace. So Vivian says, give it to me. Vivian reached under the curling hair at Igraine's neck and unfastened the chain. When this stone comes back to Igraine, remember what I said and do as the goddess prompts you to do. So she's going to enchant this moonstone and give it back to her. And she really needs her to then remember what Vivian has told her. Vivian, do you really think Uther would want this old lady, right? I mean, look at me. He's not going to look at me and go, woohoo. Which is, but I have to say, it's funny. Igraine does have a vision of Vivian having another child, though. Yes, yes, that's right. And Igraine says to her, I think it didn't, I didn't write that part down, but I think Igraine even says to her, I feel like you're going to have another kid. And Vivian's like, oh, yeah, maybe, but not this one. This is not, my fate is not to have this kid. This is your fate. All right. So, do I need a spotlight? All right, that's ridiculous. All right, so Uther could be into MILFs, right? Well, don't forget, the bad part is that Uther and Vivian are really more the same age. So heaven forbid Uther want a woman who's his own age. Because it says Vivian is 39. We know Uther is at least 30. More like probably, 35 or so. So they actually would make a better couple, but that can't happen. No. Never. And So that's the end of my questions. Put it under your chin. Ooh, the spooky stories. All right, what else did my notes say? Vivian and Taliesin. See, I still say it like that. Taliesin. It's going to take me a while to unlearn the way I learned it forever. Have seen that Ambrosius will die soon and Uther Pendragon will succeed him. Taliesin saw that Rome is gone from Britain. They need a leader for all, so that Britain will fall to the Saxons. If that doesn't happen, if she doesn't do that, then the Saxons will take over and Britain will fall forever. He's already seen, Taliesin has already, yeah, I said it right, yeah, has already seen that Rome is not coming back. Because Igraine keeps saying, well, the Romans will be back and they'll help us fight and then we'll be okay, we'll overturn the Saxons anyway. And he's like, yeah, no, Rome isn't coming back. Rome at this point is done with Britain and is like, okay, we've gotten all we can out of you. We don't want you anymore. And so thanks for your help. Now we're going back to Rome to enjoy the spoils of all of our victories. And they're not coming back. Igraine is to bear the great uniter. Taliesin is Igraine's father. And this we very clearly get here, finally, that Taliesin is Igraine's father. Vivian finally tells Igraine that Gorlois will die soon. And that's, to me, that's the turning point. I think Igraine is fighting, right? She's like, no, I don't want to do this shit. This is, how is this my job? I've already, sacrificed so much. Why are you making me do this? And I think the turning point, at least the turning point that I could see, is that Vivian finally says to her, yeah, honey, guess what? Gorlois is not long for this world. He's not going to be around. So do you want to be a widow? Because that's, even if you turn your back and you don't want this for your fate, then your fate is you're going to be a widow soon. Not coming back to Britain. They don't like the weather. Yeah, they're like, I've had enough of that cold, dreary, gray rain, right? So that's it. So she's like, oh gosh. So she's kind of at the end of chapter 2, she's kind of resigned. Okay, I guess this is my fate. This is something I'll have to do. There's nothing I can do. This is my fate. They have to lose to the Gauls, right? So that will bring us into chapter 3. And it moves fairly quickly. From here, this is kind of a lot of setup, but it moves fairly quickly into, we get to meet Uther soon. What happens with that? How does Igraine get there? What happens when she meets Uther? How does all this go down? And it happens fairly quickly. Are you guys so far, you're okay with one chapter? One chapter seems to be pretty good. From what I can tell, it's, they're not teeny chapters. Like I said, once we get, there's a couple chapters that are like 9 pages or something. We might combine a couple chapters when we get to those chapters. But these seem pretty good. So we're not spending a ton of time reading our book, throughout the week. We just need to spend a little time, an hour or so a week. All right, Stephen, what was your aha moment, if you want to share? I like the one chapter so far. Yes. One chapter. Good. One chapter for me is good too. It's because it means I don't have to spend the entire time, that I'm out here. Not a widow, but a gift to Uther's men that he gives her versus having him. Yeah, exactly. That's the other choice here. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So hopefully now that we're in this park for at least a week. We may go on for another week. We'll see. It will take a long time to get through it with one chapter a week. It will. That's true. So we may speed up. And what'll happen is this: the fourth face of the goddess. I had a different take. Ooh, you had a different take. Okay. I don't know if you want to share. Maybe you want to share on your channel, or you could share here if it's too much to type. I know sometimes I'm like, oh, there's this huge thing that I got, but it's too much to type. Then maybe you want to do a VR or something on your channel. Just saying. You could. Or it's private and you're like, fuck off, Jen. That's okay too. Feel free. Don't ever be afraid to tell Mama to fuck off. It's okay. Anyways, I will be here for at least another week. I'm hoping now finally to jump on more videos again, which I intended to do, but it's been a nightmare situation since January 1st. I do have to get together the craft table. I saw it as been a death. Goddess gives life and also takes it. Ooh. Oh, that's good. Now I want to go back and reread that. Stephen sees it as a death. She can take the life that she also gives. I'm going to go back and reread it now, because it definitely could have dual meanings for sure. Definitely. Yes, yes, yes. So I will continue more videos. I do have to get ready for the craft show because I have to find a way to make money. I am doing long distance Reiki treatments now. So if you're interested, message me. What else? I'm losing my mind. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Next Wednesday, I will try to get the event page up tonight. I'm going to go in and eat dinner and stuff. But I will try to get the event page up tonight because Steven told me this morning that it still wasn't up. And I'm like, ah, shit, how the hell did I do that? Damn it. But I will try to get the event page up tonight so that next week our book club event will be up there. Yes, sacrificing your life if necessary. That's really good. And there is a point where they specifically talk about sacrificing your life if necessary. And I think I was going to talk about that and I forgot to write notes on it or something. I have to figure out a better light for our, I have more lanterns, so the lanterns that I have will be better than this one next time. But in case I didn't see earlier, post pics of what's for sale. I will, Michelle, I promise. I will. And I miss you guys, and I'm so glad Mercury is direct now. Yes. I'm enjoying being able to discuss this book. Yay! Would never see all those details. Yay! I'm so glad. And I really like that too. That we can have different perspectives on it. And there's things that you guys might get that I don't get at all until you say that. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, definitely. That's awesome. For sure. So feel free to post comments. Feel free to write in the event page. If you're not on Facebook, the King, Vivian is going to do the Great Marriage with. Yes. Yeah. That is, and we'll talk about that a little bit more next time. There is, Vivian is going to do the Great Sacrament, the Great Rite at Beltane, with the King, of someone, and she's doing this on purpose so that it pulls that king in to support Uther when this happens. So that's going to be really interesting too. There's a lot of interesting things that come up. I just love this book. It's so juicy and meaty and good. There are some things that come up that now I look at, I bet I'm going to see in a different light, but we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about it all. I don't mind. No topic is off the table. You know me. All right. I love you guys. Click the like button for me on the way out. We will be back next Wednesday, same time, with Chapter 3. Chapter 3's discussion. Next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Not Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Central Standard Time, which means 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know. Wherever it is in your time. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me, and I plan on being on a lot more now. Good night. I love you.